I'm the Amateur Logician from amateurlogician.com. We're going to consider rhetoric, and we're going to talk about 5 rhetorical skills. We're also going to talk about 5 parts of a good speech. And we're going to consider the relationship between an audience, speaker, and topic. Rhetoric has a relation between the speaker, audience, and the topic under consideration. Now, rhetoric is the art of persuasion. It belongs alongside logic and grammar in a traditional education. Rhetoric is the study and practice of using language to persuade an audience. Logic, of course, is about using language in a rational manner so as to justify various propositions. And grammar is basically about using language in a coherent and meaningful manner to form and put together words, sentences, paragraphs, and so forth. That's just rhetoric, so it's often said. We dismiss it. Rhetoric is a pejorative. But think about its traditional meaning. Rhetoric developed out of legal and political disputes in the ancient world. Now, true, we get the word sophistry out of the abusers of rhetoric, but no less of an authority than Aristotle himself, surely no fan of the sophists, developed a treatise on the subject. It was about how to argue well and convincingly. Good rhetoric helps us reach our audience. It's a skill we all need. Any skill requires practice, and practice requires some knowledge. So let's first consider 5 rhetorical skills. So we have 5 rhetorical skills. So 1, discovery. What do I want to write or say? 2, arrangement. How should I organize my essay or presentation? 3, style. What's the best vocabulary, syntax, and dialect for my audience? 4, memorization. What should I memorize if I'm about to give a speech? And 5, delivery. How am I to modulate my voice or body language in a speech? In the treatise Rhetoric, Aristotle lectured on the nature of discovery in books 1 and 2. Later, Aristotle lectured on arrangement and style in book 3. Next, let's consider 5 parts of a good speech. 1, prologue. That is, introducing the speaker. 2, statement of thesis. That is, stating the proposition to be argued for. 3, argument. That is, providing justification for the thesis. And here, logic, of course, is essential. 4, refutation. That is, disproving an opponent of the thesis. Here's the argument. Here's counter-arguments to your arguments, and here are the replies to those counter-arguments. And 5, conclusion. That is, summarizing and ending. And of course, this is good advice for a thesis-driven essay, not only a speech. What's most important, according to Aristotle, is to have a thesis and to argue for it. Again, logic in that sense is paramount. In the context of rhetoric, logos is just another word for logic. It concerns rational appeal. Premises are given, inferences are drawn to reach the conclusion. We appeal to the audience's intelligence. But also recall that there's ethos and pathos. These are 2 further components of persuasion. Ethos, by the way, is not primarily about morality. It's rather something that refers to the speaker or writer himself. We appeal to the audience's judgment about us. We must convince them that we are competent. Being a virtuous person is surely not enough. In order for an audience to take us seriously, we need to display our skills or expertise. Finally, pathos is an appeal to emotion. It's an emotional appeal. While logos appeals to the intellect, pathos appeals to the passions and will. By saying things or writing things in a certain way, often we can get an emotional reaction from our audience. For example, we can influence them to desire a good thing. There are many resources on rhetoric, both online and offline. These are ultimately practical skills, and so we need to learn by doing and by watching and reading good examples. Find skilled people in the art of persuasion and discern what works. I'm the Amateur Logician from amateurlogician.com. My mission, in part, is to revive a classical liberal education to bring back the Trivium. That includes not only logic, but also grammar and rhetoric.